What's up, folks? Jordan here, welcoming you to a brand new J-Play play-along by the name of Cosmic Break, an MMO third-person shooter developed by Cyberstep as the spiritual successor to the earlier C21. As such, it retains many of the same concepts of gameplay and adds new ones at the same time. I found this game... I don't remember how I found this game, but I've been playing it on and off for about 2 years now, since the second open beta test started, and right from the get-go I was like, yeah, this is a game I want to J-Play eventually. But in order to make that vision a reality, I needed two things: a CPU upgrade and people to play with. I only ever got one of those things, but it's okay, we can still play games. So, let's get started. I'm just going to use an alternate account to get started for now, but I'll switch to my main later on once things are a little clearer. I was going to use the name Sleepy Ibuki like I do in IRC, but I forgot about the 10 character name limit, and the client was like, no! You take one of those letters out. And so I did. And I became Sleepy Ibuki. Thanks, Powerblock. I owe you one. After picking your username, you're introduced to a screen where you can pick 6 robots out of the 20 shown to start off with. These robots are of differing types, stats, weapons, and sizes. We'll get into each of those later. Of course, I show off the poster girl Crimrose first. She's definitely one of the simplest air types to use and one of the most cost-effective. Standard equipment is a beam gun with decent range and a rapier for close quarters. Next to her is the other poster girl, Lily Rain. She is an artillery type, depending mostly on her core weapon Skirt for extra firepower. That's right, I said Skirt. And thus has more range than Crimrose, but naturally moves slower too. I won't get into all of the characters right now, or we'll be here all day, so we'll just skip to when I have my 6 robots selected and move on. You can already tell though that there's a wide variety of robots to put in your team in any order. We'll also get into that later. And now we're in the game proper. I'm going to be going through the beginner's portion of the game for now. Oh hey, free Zero Saber Girl. And explain all of the facets of the game to the best of my ability. You don't have to worry about the leaderboard up top or the items you get for logging in just yet. Let's just head into the beginner's channel and learn what makes this game what it is.
Oh yeah? どこかでまた新しいヒーローが僕らの呼びかけに応えてくれたようだよ。
あら、私たちも待ってた甲斐があったわね。
うん。今度は一体どんなやつだ。いくら威勢がよかろうが、力のないヒーローなんぞ俺はいらんからな。
ねえドラッケン、だから君のユニオンにはチームワークが足りないんじゃないかい？僕たちにはもっとたくさんの仲間が必要なことは分かっているだろ
う？いや違うな。我がユニオンが求めているのは強いロボだけだ。青臭い考えのお前らには分からんだろうが、戦いで勝つためには仲間ごっこなど役に立たんのだぞ。
ちょっと、お前らって私も含まれてるのかしら？いい？現代のヒーローは賢くなくちゃいけないのよ。いくら力があって仲間がたくさんいたって頭の悪い作戦を立てたら負けちゃうんだから。
おい、言い争いはやめなよ。僕たちが戦うべき舞台はここじゃないんだからさ。
ライオス、大体お前が言い出したんじゃないか。ああいい。では行儀を良くして新しいヒーローをお迎えするとしよう。
はーい、分かったわよ。それじゃあ今からチャンネルを開くからね。
なんだろうあれは。
あら、ちょっと様子が変ね。この反応は。
どうやら招かれざる客まで紛れ込んでいたようだな。面白い。今回は一体どれほどのヒーローなのか、お手並み拝見といこうじゃないか。
We're being watched by 3 people we don't know. That makes me feel comfortable. Alright, while the game is explaining the controls, pay no mind to the lower left corner. I'm playing with a USB controller. I'll be going over the layout. On the top right corner is your radar. This allows you to see potential allies in blue and enemies in red so that you know who's who. You are the green arrow in the center. In the lower right, there's the name of your robot, how much health you have, the weapons you have equipped, and the wonder gauge, which we'll see in action momentarily. Now on the top left is your active item inventory. Normally you can have up to 4 items in your possession before you have to play the shell game and figure out which ones you want to keep. Below that is your current score, which only appears in certain modes, and below that is where you can check your party status. It's a little bare bones right now with only myself in the party, but that's beside the point. Oh hey, there's the guy marked on our radar. He doesn't look too friendly either. We've got a fight on our hands, don't we? Apparently this Dread Puncher dude enjoys punching people moving in on his territory. And what's a Cosmic Ark? And why are you so upset though? Well, whoever he is, he wants a piece of us and I'm more than happy to oblige. Now the default controls are set up so that you have your left hand on the left side of your keyboard and your right hand on your mouse. It seems really simple in hindsight and I probably should be able to play that way, but if I did I wouldn't be half as good. Implying that I'm good at all. Anyway, to target your enemy, all you have to do is move your mouse over to him or her, and when you hear the bleep, you're locked on. It's as simple as that. As you deal and take damage, the wonder gauge fills up. When it's full, you can hit the F key to summon a wonder bit for additional support. It will remain active until the gauge is empty or until you hit the F key again. Look at this fool. He doesn't even have a wonder bit. This guy got called to the Cosmic Ark? Whatever that is? I didn't take a single lick of damage. And apparently that's what they expect. High-end these guys. I'll remember this! No you won't. I guarantee you'll never see this guy again.
やあ、君にも僕らの姿が見えているだろう。さっきの戦いでは君の勇気をしっかり見せてもらったよ。
力の使い方はまだまだだが、少しは見どころがありそうだな。
そうね、なかなかよく頭も回りそうだし、私は気に入ったわよ。
お前らは一体何者だと問いたげな顔をしているな。俺はドラッケンというものだ。
私はアイシーよ。よろしくね。そして私たちはコズミックアークの新刊と呼ばれているわ。すべてのロボの創造主であるアークに仕えているの。
僕はライオスだ。コズミックアークでは君のような優れた能力を持つヒーローを全宇宙から呼び集めているんだ。なぜかってそれは
私たちのアーク英知のウィズダムを蘇らせるためあなたに力を貸してほしいの。
ずるいぞアイシー、割り込むなんて。君は勇気のアークブレイダインを復活させるために僕らと一緒に戦うんだ。
相変わらず勝手な奴らだな。言っておくが、こんな連中の味方についたら後悔することになるぞ。合力のアークドストレックスならばお前を手荒く歓迎してくれようぞ。
何よ、あんただって言ってることは一緒じゃない。要するにあなたには私たちのユニオンの中から一つを選んでいずれのアークが蘇るべきかをかけた戦いに参加してもらおうというわけ。
そう、我がユニオンを選ばなければ明日からは敵同士だからな。よく考えるといい。
ドラッケン、脅しじゃないんだから。そんなことを言ってるからこわもてのヒーローばっかり集まるんだよ。
そういうライオスのユニオンはいつも暑苦しくていいわよね。頭まで熱暴走してそうだわ。
あれ、もしかしてアイシーもうちが羨ましいのかい？
そんなわけないでしょ。私たちのユニオンはいつでも氷のように冷静沈着。何せこの私がバシッと仕切っちゃうんだから。
アイシー、一体お前のどこが冷静なんだ。まあもうそろそろいいだろう。それではお前の選択を聞こうじゃないか。
うん、一度決めたら後戻りはできないからね。
そうね、 よく考えて選ぶのよ。
やれやれ、こんなところだけ息が合うとはな。
Time to go the cliche shonen route and say, without power you can't protect anyone, much less yourself. Yeah, right. The only reason I'm going Dustrex is because I have an account for each of the other unions. And after we choose a union, we're whisked away to that union's home area, where the leader fills us in on what's going on. Or rather, the Ark of Strength itself has something to say. Sounds simple enough. Consider it done. Cosmos, huh? Is that how we're supposed to regenerate Dustrex? I think you mean Volcano. Oh, so that's why you're calling out for heroes. Yeah, I'm starting to get the picture. So, where should I start? Wait, 3 robots? But I can only occupy one at a time. Okay, you're the boss. So, the Commando Draken is talking about is accessed by hitting the F1 key. This is your personal garage where you can do a multitude of things, including setting up commandos, of which you can have up to 6 of at any given time, repainting robots to suit your fancy, and customization, which is a very big thing in this game and why I've played it as long as I have. Earlier in the game's history, the players only had the main garage there and 1 sub-garage for storage, but now there's 2 sub-garages, for a total capacity of 660 robots. That is a lot of robots, more than any of us will ever know what to do with. Anyhow, let's spill our commando, because from now on we'll be required to have 3 in the overworld. It's just a simple drag and drop manner. You can even swap the order among your commando and influence who you play as first. Now we can get into the juicy stuff. Combat! Hitting the F3 key takes us to the matching lobby, where we can join arena battles and stuff. And conveniently enough, there happens to be a training arena, which just so happens to coincide with me about to talk about the different types of robots there are. Fun fact, the training arena used to be up there where the versus question mark room is now. Oh well, let's get started. There are 3 main types of robots: land types, air types, and artillery types. They also have their strengths and weaknesses. Land types are marked with a pointed circle on the radar. As the name suggests, they're really fast on the ground and can tear apart artillery types in a matter of seconds with their melee attacks. However, they're equally weak in the air and usually can't fly for very long, rendering them helpless during air-to-ground dogfights. Here's a number of examples of land types so you can recognize them on the field. Jikun Hu, Jikun Long, Hadagarm, Katana Max, Ivus, Zero Saber. The air types, marked with a scored circle, are of course the Masters of the Sky, boasting the most maneuverability in the air and the longest flight types. They can easily be taken down though with a couple of well-placed explosive rounds or missiles from an artillery type. I like air types personally, and though it's not fun getting nailed with missiles, it's super easy to harass someone or run interference for friendly land types. Here's a few air types, for reference. Primrose, Izuna Kamui, Mecha Jetter, Aquila Girl, Hellingle. If you want to switch your equipped weapons, hold down the left shift key and click, because beam guns are better suited for air types. They have more range. That spinny spin move that Mecha Jetter did just then was completely out of my control, by the way. The artillery types, marked with a square on the radar, have the largest firing range of all three types, and can unleash devastating barrages with the right weapons, but they're also the largest of the three, and thus rather slow. Easy pickings for land types. Try to stay out of the way of opposing land types or have an allied non-artillery hanging around. Some artillery types are as follows. Lily Rain, Destructor, Contradict, Victory 1, Merrill March, Snailbot. It is not easy for me to use Victory 1, so I miss a couple of times, but that's not the point. If you really want to unload, you could try an Alpha Strike. Hold down both mouse buttons and you'll fire all of your main weapons at once. The drawback is that you have to stand still the whole time you're Alpha Striking, making you just as big a target as whoever you're shooting. There is a fourth type of robot known as the Support type, and marked with an X within a circle. It doesn't really have strengths or weaknesses, but it does have some quirky offensive or defensive capabilities that the others don't, like Nicole Malice's Soul Rod or Amy's Healing Bed. That's step 1 done. On to step 2. Every robot has a cost. If a robot is destroyed in battle, that robot's cost is deducted from the team's battle points, or BP. Once a team's BP hits 0, the battle is over and that team loses. Battles can also end if time runs out. If a robot is doing particularly well and then they get destroyed, a little more than the cost of the robot will be deducted, so stay healthy and watch out for those killstreak enders, because they are out there. That is a power spot, and it is highly important that you do not let the one that belongs to your team gets destroyed. If it does, it shaves a huge chunk of your BP off of your team. Fortunately for you, it's constantly regenerating, so it takes a lot to off it. And sometimes you have to defend 2 of them. But that shouldn't be too hard, considering that they give you the Hyper Shot status buff when you stand underneath it. Just be mindful of your ammo. On occasion, you'll find destroyable objects like this ghost tree here. Sometimes items will pop out of them. Then you can help your teammates. Or yourself. Depends on the item. To use that item, hit the number corresponding to the slot that it's in. If you want to drop it or give it to someone else, hold down the tab key and then do the same thing. The tab key also expands the radar so you can see the entire map. This is a Hipporoid lamp, of which you can use to summon distractions. They do pretty good melee damage too. There are 4 types of hippo. The mini hippo, which is pretty much the sword end of the stick. The regular hippo. The giga hippo, which is pretty rare. And the omega hippo, which you just saw wreck everything. There is a 5th hippo, the chaos hipporoid, that attacks everyone, not just your enemies. They're usually restricted to certain arenas though. Alright, we're done with step 2. In step 3, we'll be doing some real battling. Well, as real as you can get against the computer. Okay, so I'm looking at my commando, and Lily's the only one I haven't shown off yet, so I'm gonna be using her for step 3. What's great about this arena is that this is actually a stage you'll experience in PvP, so it helps to ease the player in. So the first thing we're going to do is attack these trees. Hopefully some items will pop out. Some copious use of both main and sub-weapons. A curious thing about Lily's starting sub-weapon is that it actually locks onto enemies if you're close enough. The startup is really slow, but the energy discs track opponents well, so it's a pretty good sub-weapon if you don't mind slipping all over the place. If you feel like you're not the best at combat, you'll definitely want to hold on to a repair kit in case of emergencies. They come in two varieties, plus 100 HP for personal use, and plus 50 HP for the entire team. Now since I'm an artillery type, I should sort of hang back and let the other guys handle the close combat, but I'm an idiot, and at one point I decide to go in with my cutter sub-weapon. That's the dagger in Lily's left hand. And if you can't tell, it has just about as much range as a tuna sandwich. Sadly, Lily's initial setup gives her nothing in the right hand, and as it stands now, I have no spare weapons to give her, so she's not too threatening right now, but I'll fix that in due time. Besides, the AI here isn't very bright, but they do get better later on. Every robot you see here has 6 parts making them up. The head, which is directly linked to the radar. The booster, used for flying and usually a good contribution to your flying ability. The arms, which are what usually hold your main weapons. The legs, also self-explanatory. The core, which more or less determines the build of the robot, and often has a weapon attached to it. And finally, you can give your robot an accessory or two for that extra oomph. All of these 6 categories of parts determine your robot's stats. These are things like how hard your weapons hit, movement speed, how well you can take a hit, etc. Don't worry about all that too much right now. Just don't let any of your robot stats be 0, or else you'll be in for a terrible time. If you ask me, the best part about this game is the fact that, save for locked parts and the core, all of these parts are interchangeable with other parts, so you can mix and match repeatedly until you find the right setup to suit your playstyle. After every arena battle, awards are given based on the player's performance. There's one for destroying the most robots, dealing the most melee damage, landing the final blow in the match, etc. And these will give you bonus points. The higher you place in the match, the more of the in-game currency you get, and the more experience you get for your robots. There's even a chance you'll get an extra item or two, depending on the map. Once your robot has enough experience, you'll have the opportunity to add something called a custom cartridge to him or her. These range from upgrading core weapons, to adding new movement options, to lowering damage taken from a certain weapon, to even adding to the robot's cost capacity. Be mindful though that custom cartridges themselves cost something, usually 25 points each or something like that. A really small amount, but they do add up.
Alpha Team win.
And that's about the basics of Cosmic Break. I won't lie, that took longer than I thought it would to explain, but it's all for the best. So if I say something I haven't explained in future episodes, I hope I'll have enough foresight to explain it in the info box below. As it stands though, that's all for this episode of Cosmic Breaking In, as I'm going to call it. Yeah. In the next episode, we'll get into some actual battles and begin our face-off against the Chaos. Until then, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.